Welcome back, everyone. Great to have you here today on our first house call of the weekend. Really appreciate your support here, tuning in on the weekends to the Cabral HouseCalls, which is our Q&A based calls every single weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, answering about a half dozen questions each day from our community. So love this opportunity to be able to directly connect with the community now, 6 years later or so, 5-6 years later, answering questions, 5,000, 8,000, who knows how many questions we've gotten to. But really what it's about is being able to, as a community, come together more so than the individual questions and just understand that everybody has complications in life, right? Everybody has health issues pop up in life. And sometimes it's your time and sometimes it's not. But what we want to be able to do is to, I think, have trusted sources that we can go to that says, oh, if this ever comes up, this is what we're able to look at first. So what I hope to do with these Cabral house calls on the weekend is to be able to create this reservoir of information that you could search at any time. Because again, you never know when the health issue is going to pop up for you or for your family. So you just go to stevencabral.com/podcast and you type in heart murmur, or you type in arrhythmia, or you type in IBS or IBD or food sensitivity or Hashimoto's or whatever, and you're going to find a bunch of shows and house calls on that. And it's a good first place to get started. It's like what you might not be thinking about. Again, we're not providing medical diagnosis here on the show. Hopefully we get that. We're not doing medical treatment protocols or cures. What we're doing is we're actually figuring out the underlying root causes of why you have this health issue in the first place. And the nice thing is, if you're tuning in every single weekend, you have the knowledge to be able to say, oh, I remember Steve saying this. I remember Dr. Cabral saying that. I remember, and so you start to piece it all together. And when it's pieced together, then you have a better and much deeper knowledge set, so that, let's say that your child or your mom or dad, they came to you and they said, oh, I've been dealing with a really upset stomach after lunch for the past week. What do you think it is? And you'll kind of like jog your memory and say, oh, maybe it's food combining. Maybe it's food sensitivities. Maybe you got some food poison or bacteria in your body that you didn't know of. Maybe it's H. pylori. Like, you can start to talk with them about these things and give them a first place to get started. You could say, oh, maybe we should run a Candida metabolic and vitamins test. Maybe we should run a bacteria and parasite stool test that also looks at H. pylori. Maybe a food sensitivity test. But you'll know that those are options. And for a lot of people, they have no idea there are options. I didn't even know there were options like this until I was 19. So from 17 years old to 19 years old, I suffered without even knowing there was the option to look at how my gut was functioning, how my adrenals were functioning, and so much more. So my job is to simply try to pay it forward and share some of these things with you. So without further ado, let's actually get into your questions, because I could talk all day and rant. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to open up this magic document that my amazing team lays out with all of your questions, and I'm scrolling down right now to the latest question. And again, there are a lot of questions, so I am still scrolling. We're typically 8 weeks now behind, just because we've got a lot of questions coming in. And I can see now we are good to go. Episode 2003. So hopefully you tuned in this past week for a momentous episode 2000 show. Again, really appreciate all of the reviews and the support that you've really handed and helped me out with over this last week. So I appreciate you. Episode 2003, if you want to follow along with the questions, head on over to stevencabral.com/2003. All right. First question's coming in from Andre or Andres, and it came in on June 3rd. So this one says, hi, I have a benign brain tumor located near the small brain and vision nerve. Doctors country remove it. I think that might just a typo saying doctors can't remove it. Is it possible to not make it grow or completely vanish it? Kind regards, Andre. All right. So happy to help with this question. So what we want to look at is some tumors are completely benign, right? So that means that they're not necessarily harmful. They're growths in the body. We'd rather them not be there, but they are there. So what happens is in the brain that they can actually start to grow. And when they grow, then they begin to impinge on certain nerves, certain other parts of the brain. And then when the impingement takes place, we get localized inflammation in that area, and we get I don't want to say the word deadening, but we get a pinching off of the nerve that would then be able to send signals to, for example, the eyes, when vision is the case. So if the issue is in the brain with a brain tumor, then we can't just say, oh, well, we're going to give antioxidants or we're going to give surgery for the eyes because the issue is actually right. Root causal. Root causal is the brain, the tumor there. So what do we need to look at? Well, there are a lot of people that do detoxification-based protocols, more alkaline-based diets. I'm not saying they're the right ones for you. More of a keto-based diet for brain tumors. We have to be careful with that for too long keto-based diets. But there are a lot of things that we can look into. What I have to say, as someone that's answering your question here on a podcast, is that I need you to look into what has already been successful for other people. And maybe, and again, if this is a safe program, you should be working with a practitioner to emulate that as well. Okay, so I talked about this on our Motivation and Mindset Monday. Hopefully you were able to tune into that. What you don't want to do is worry about this every single day, so it's a great source of stress. And what you also don't want to do is do 15 to 20 different things for this particular tumor. What you want to do is hone in on what are the 3 or 4 things that I can do using the de-stress protocol: diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, rest, emotional balance, supplements, and success mindset. What can I do that would have the greatest impact based on what's already been successful in the past? So work with a practitioner that has experience with this, that is then able to walk you through those. And if you haven't read The Rain Barrel Effect yet, it's a great place to start, okay? Annabelle's up next, and Andres, we wish you all the best, and we do hope that you continue to tune in and provide us with your ongoing success. Annabelle's up next. Hello, hope you're well. My name is Annabelle. I'm 26, and I've been officially diagnosed with POTS for about 1.5 years now. I was a very healthy child growing up, but when I was 14, I received the HPV vaccine, and my body has never been the same. When I was 24, I became increasingly more fatigued. I felt my heart rate was going to come out of my chest, and caffeine and alcohol made me land in the ER with a resting heart rate of 180. I'd like to know how to get rid of POTS once and for all. I'd like to go hiking and dancing without feeling like I'm going to pass out, and I'd like to stop feeling like a burden and a nuisance. I've tried everything and nothing seems to help. All right, Annabelle, I'm happy to help, and you've come to the right place. I had POTS for about 5 years, maybe 6 years, and it's absolutely terrible. I mean, for people that have never experienced it, it's just, you just have brain fog, you feel so weak, and you have exercise intolerance. There's my Boston accent coming out. So basically, how it affected me is I would literally walk up 6 stairs and my heart rate would be pounding through my chest, just like Annabelle was saying. I would have to sit down at the top of the flight of stairs going up to my bedroom as a young 17, 18-year-old. It was miserable, and I was not able to do a lot of the things that I had used to been able to do before that, such as play sports in high school and play a pickup game of basketball and any of those things. It was a very dark time. The good news is, I've talked about POTS many times. POTS stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So we love using big words in medicine, but really I explain what the symptoms are. And honestly, it is an imbalance that typically comes along with sodium, potassium, and to a lesser degree, magnesium and calcium. It also has to do with your digestive system and your inability to actually absorb your calcium, magnesium, your zinc, and many others. And it has to do at the same time with your sympathetic versus parasympathetic nervous system. And for you, it seems like there was an inflammatory imbalance potentially caused by something else. So what I would love for you to do is to actually get data on what's imbalanced inside of your body. So the best thing that you can do is to run the Big 5. All right. You can find the Big 5 over at Equilife, EQUI.LIFE. And again, you're always welcome to run it with another integrative health practitioner if you choose to. That's totally fine as well. And then if you can't afford the Big 5, then at the very least, you want to run the starter kit. And if you can run the starter kit plus the thyroid adrenal hormone test, I would run that. All right, Annabelle? And that is how you're going to overcome it. Plus, go to stephencabral.com/podcasts and type in POTS in quotations, and you'll find my previous shows on that as well. Jess is up next. Jess says, I struggle with having a bad gag reflux, which has affected my life in numerous ways, such as taking pills, x-rays at the dentist, and also getting a strep test that has always been impossible for me. I can't even tongue scrape because I immediately gag when the scraper goes towards the back of my tongue. I also want to be able to take all the supplements I like, but I can only deal with so many pills in one day because of this. I'm just curious if you have any thoughts as to why someone's reflex may be more sensitive than others. Yes. Okay. So in Ayurvedic medicine, as well as bioregulatory medicine, we often say that the greater the gag reflex, the deeper the person is into the parasympathetic nervous system, which I don't know you, I've never met you, but we typically say it's more of a kapha-based reflex. However, I'm going to add a big however here. When you are someone on the exact opposite side of the spectrum to the highest degree, meaning highly stressed, then you also can be very, very sensitive. So that's high vata. High vata means very sensitive to a lot of things. Noise, obviously sounds with that, smells, chemical sensitivities, those types of things. So there's two types of people. They're in both ends of the spectrum. One person needs the calm. The other person actually needs just a little bit more get up and go. If you are the person who's highly sensitive to everything, sound, light, smell, taste, all those things, okay, what do we need? Well, I know that you can only take so many things because we need to relax, right? Meditation, calming walks, binaural beats, biofeedback, magnesium typically, and a product like Adrenal Soothe, right? Because you can only do so many things. So, okay, so we do those. We calm the nervous system. Now, for the other side, for the kapha-based body type, we actually need things to move that thyroid a little bit, right? To move those adrenals. You might need adrenal energy. You might need daily thyroid support. You might need even a little bit of caffeine. I don't know you, so I can't tell you what side of the spectrum you're on, but we need to bring you back more towards the middle, right? Ayurveda, bioregulatory medicine are always about balance. You don't need to push someone one direction or the other. You need to get them back to dynamic equilibrium, all right? All right, Victoria's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you in advance for your time. My question is on mainly Lyme disease. I'm someone who has confirmed Lyme with a Western blot, I believe. I haven't yet taken antibiotics. I definitely have the symptoms, neurological dizziness, anxiety, etc. I believe I've had it for 3 years now undiagnosed. My question would be, how do you treat the symptoms of someone with Lyme disease that has had it for years? Would you alter your tick-based protocol in any way? Just wondering, as that episode seemed to be more for immediate response into a recent tick bite. It's a great question. So I'm glad that you've already done your homework. You went back to stephencabral.com/podcasts. You searched Lyme disease. You listened to Lyme disease episodes. Anybody that's wants to know more about my tick bite protocol, just type in tick bite and you'll be able to find that. That's exactly what I did for myself. And for many years, I've been doing it with other people. Okay. Now, again, we don't treat disease. I just want to make that really clear, just so everybody hears it. We don't treat disease. So what we look at is the underlying root causes. So we might say, oh, we have a bacterial imbalance. Okay, well, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to do the same protocol, essentially, as the tick bite protocol. But we also want to look at, you've had it for 3 years, what else might be going on? Do we have any gut imbalances? Do we have any adrenal imbalances, meaning cortisol? Do we have any thyroid imbalances? Do we have low vitamin D? What we want to do is put your immune system in charge of being able to heal your body, while at the same time using natural antibacterials, antimicrobials, and anything else that's needed in order to kill whatever might be in your body. But at the same time, help to potentially repair the gut wall, to repair the mitochondria, etc. So again, I'd love you to run the Big 5, but if you're not able to, the same exact labs as I actually gave our friend previous to this, who was Annabelle, which is the starter kit. Always, if you can't do the Big 5, you pretty much go right to the starter kit. And if you can add one more for you, I recommend the thyroid adrenal hormone. All right, because you want to look at vitamin D, thyroid, and your cortisol levels as well. So that's where I would start. That's exactly where I would start. Okay. Victoria's up again. Hey, Cabral. I've been thinking of doing a gallbladder cleanse as I've been experiencing pain on my right side that radiates to my back. I read that it could be gallstones. I've done one of the gallbladder flushes before and had about 120 stones come out. The problem is I've been reading that these may not be gallstones. It may just be olive oil and lemon combined instead. Have you read research on this, and do you believe that they are gallstones? Yeah, it's a great question, and I have read this, yes. So the interesting thing is this, and so I just want to state this. And again, I always let you know when we are theorizing, hypothesizing about things. I like to think in terms of first principles and foundational thinking. That means like, okay, let's get to the bottom of this. So let's say that you do a gallbladder flush every 6 weeks because you're in some pain. You think that might be hardened bile might be the issue. Okay. So you do that and you do it the same exact way every time. What most people notice is by the third or fourth time that they've done it, there are less than half of the, I'm going to put this in air quotes for those listening, not watching a video, stones that come out. So if it were just olive oil that's being hardened and combined with the lemon juice or grapefruit juice, because we use grapefruit, wouldn't it be the same every time? Meaning that why would it be less each time if it were simply olive oil and the grapefruit or lemon juice combining? That's a question just to ask. Again, because I'm not inside the body, I can't tell you exactly. And why is it that a lot of people have gotten phenomenal results on getting that bile flowing? So I don't know if those balls that come out, those stones, are gallstones, or if it's simply bile that has been released that then gets combined to these stones in the intestines. That's more my theory. So my theory is that it's bile. It's green, no doubt about it. It gets locked up, but I don't believe that they're actually stones coming out of the gallbladder. But again, I don't know that. What I do know is that many people seem to get tremendous benefit, and the stones seem to be a bit less over time, and that makes sense as well. So, Victoria, hopefully that's helpful. Lou is up next. And let's see, we've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lou's our last question of the day. Lou says, the results of the hair lab test I took through Equilife and showed high levels of mercury. Oh, I answered this last week. Thank you, Lou, for writing in. I definitely answered that last week. So we'll go over Megan's question today. Hey, Dr. Brawl, thanks so much for your wealth of information. As a certified health coach for 7 years, you've helped me expand my knowledge, and I'm now taking the IHP Level 1 course to dive deeper. Love learning it all. Was curious if you could touch on fulvic and humic acid. I searched the podcast to only see one show. I've been hearing of them lots lately with regards to their antiviral activity, nutrient uptake, and microbiome and boosting ability. Would love to know your thoughts. Thanks again for all you do. All right, Megan, we are going to head on over to stephencabral.com/podcast, and we're going to find those shows for you because I've talked about them on many podcasts, but I'm committed to making sure that you get your answer. So let's type in Fumic first. Fumic, not happening. I don't know why I typed in Fumic. Let's type in fulvic acid. All right. We have it on 485. Well, I know it's on far more than that. And you know why? I believe it's because, Megan, when I talk about them, it's in the context of a product called Shilajit, as well as TRS-based sprays, as well as intestinal binders. So we use them in our intestinal cleanse right now, all right? They're great at helping with that detox-based process. However, just like a lot of things, people tend to think of them as a panacea. Oh, it's like it helps with this, and it helps with that, and this, and that. So it does. There's no doubt about it. And I like them. So I like Shilajit. Not everybody can tolerate it as well. There's always the worry of heavy metals along with it. So I like humic and fulvic acid. It's just not something that I would use every single day. Would I use it as part of a 2-week or 3-week part of a detox-based program, maybe even longer for 6 weeks to 12 weeks? Sure. We use it as a binder in our, when someone does the intestinal cleanse during our parasite protocol, our mold protocol, our candida protocol. I believe in them. I think they're great. I do not believe that they are super powerful detoxifiers for the body. They are helpful. They are adjuncts, but they are not the end all be all. So again, I don't want to put down any companies making them. We use it ourselves. We have it in our products, but I always like to stand biased. I love them. I think that they're great, but they should always be used in conjunction with other items as well, because they're not super powerful in any regards. They're great in a lot of different regards, but not super powerful. So I would never use that as my immunity protocol. I would never use that as my detox protocol. I would never use that as my anti-mold protocol, but I could use it as part of those. So Megan, hopefully that's helpful and answers that question. I have a lot more on that. Actually, if you look up Shilajit, TRS, and a few others as well. I'll talk about fulvic acid and humic acid, all right? So, and again, they've been used in Ayurvedic times. They were naturally occurring in the earth, so they're fantastic. But again, we'll use other things in conjunction with them, all right? So hopefully that was helpful. Great questions today. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And I'll be back tomorrow answering 6 more questions from our community. Take care, everyone.